All right, guys, we are finally on the bike. I have been wanting to do this video. I've been really late. It's been raining a lot. I just wanted to, after my bike tour video, kind of give you an overview of super simple basics. Again, I am not an instructor or anything. I am just learning how to ride this bike. So I'm still figuring this out. Before this, I have never even driven a manual car before. So it was kind of a learning curve for me, and I'm still picking it up rather quickly. So I want to go over the things that I've learned, and hopefully you can learn from what I've learned, mistakes and all that. So in my previous video, I went over the right side of the bike. This is your stop and go. So this right here, it's your handlebar, obviously, but it twists. This is your throttle. This lever right here is your brake, your hand brake. So this hand brake stops the front wheel from rolling. This down here is your foot brake. So just like a regular car pedal, you push it, and this one stops your rear tire. Okay? And then in order to actually stop the bike and get the brake to work, you have to engage the clutch. So you pull in this clutch and it kills the power to the bike. Still running, obviously, but any acceleration is not going to work. So clutch is pulled in. If you try to accelerate, it's not going to go anywhere. It will rev, but you will not accelerate. So if you can, let me see if I can get my camera to work properly. I don't know what I was going to say. So let's say your bike is on. The first thing that I wanted to know before I ever started with the gas or moving with the clutch is, what if I encountered a problem? How do I stop this thing so I can put my feet down, regain my balance, get off, whatever I have to do? So the first thing is, how do I stop before any gas or anything? So when you get on, your run button, usually mine is down. I don't know, maybe the storm knocked it when it was on the trailer. So my run button is always on. This, like in my previous video I mentioned, is the kill switch button that people run up and hit in those Instagram reels and all that. So this is the kill switch. I flip mine down, it's always on run, and then you hold that start to start it like a car. So we have a key in it. I'm not gonna start it right now, but you turn it just like a car ignition, and then you hold it until it fires up. So when the bike is on and you are in first gear, this is essentially putting it in drive if you were thinking about it like a regular car. So you turn it on, start it up, put it in first gear, and now you're in drive. So in order to put it in gear, you grab the clutch and you hit that shifter pedal, you push it down one. I have a regular shifter, nothing fancy. There are different ones where it's a heel shifter or it's reversed, where you kick it up in its first gear. That's not the case with mine. Super, super basic. I drive a 2008, so nothing is modified or anything. It's just how it came. So bike is running. I'm in neutral right now. I would pull in the clutch, and then I would take my foot, push that down. You can't go any further than first. So if you knock it down from neutral, you're in first. At that point, your clutch, if you start to release it, you'll hit what's called the friction zone, and it will kind of act the same as if you're in drive, you're taking your foot off the brake and your transmission is starting to pull you forward a little bit. So same thing with releasing this clutch. Your transmission will kind of catch you and start to pull you forward. Now, if you let it go slow enough, it will carry you, just kind of the same as a car. You let off the brake, it will roll. If you let it go, you will stall the bike and it will shut off. I don't know the mechanics behind it. The way I look at it, I don't know if this is right, but in order to go, you need to feed your engine with some throttle, give it some gas, and if you don't and you just let it go, you don't feed it, it dies. Okay, so no gas, bike dies. So in order to start to give it some gas to go, you let slowly off the clutch, bring it out just a little bit until you feel that kind of hook where the wheels catch and they kind of start pulling. And then you start to, at the same time, twist your hand down. You're not going this way, but you're coming back towards you. So you start to twist a little down, and then at the same time, you're releasing that clutch slowly. And that's how you go from first gear. Now, before all of that, make sure you know how to stop your bike. So something that I did when I was first day on this was I was trying to practice that friction zone. So that's when the bike catches with the clutch. That's your friction zone. I was trying to practice and get a feel for where that was without giving it any gas. When I wanted to stop, I would pull in the clutch further and pull in the handbrake. Now, your hand is here and you're pulling in the brake, your hand is going to want to turn. It's turning in the direction of the throttle. And that's what makes people take off, and bike goes up, you fall off, bike keeps going, you end up injuring yourself. The tip that I was taught was anytime you're not giving it throttle and pulling back, turn your hand forward. Now, it doesn't have to be a death grip like that, but turn your hand forward, just feel that it's closed, and it's just the point where it doesn't go forward any further. So it can only go forward so much. So if you need to stop in a hurry, grab the clutch. This one does, well, my grip turns a little bit, but this does nothing, okay? So you don't have to worry about turning this. It does nothing. Grab that clutch forward and squeeze your fingers, and that will stop your bike from moving. If you are going more than just a coast and you need to stop immediately, do not just grab this brake. Think of it as a bicycle. If you grab this front brake, you're going to lock up that front wheel and you're going to end up going over. So think of it as you're riding a bicycle. You lock up that front brake, you're going to flip your bike and you're going to eat the pavement. So we don't want that. Gentle on the front brake, but also at the same time, remember we have this foot brake down here, and this one's going to come super natural because it's just like a car. So again, anything you do, you're going to grab this clutch and pull it in. You need to stop, you're going to hit that brake at the same time. So anytime that I'm stopping, whether it be abrupt or coming up to a light, I'm grabbing this and I'm pushing that at the same time. Same time. Okay? And at that point, this hand rolling forward, and I'll pull that in gently. Okay? So, see if you can see both here. Same time. And then this comes slightly after. Okay? Don't just squeeze everything, because you're going to lock up and you're going to slide or fall. Just be gentle, okay? The bike will do its thing and you'll come to a stop. All right. Controls. You have your turn signals here. So when I had regular, almost stock bars, they were kind of down here. I was leaning really far forward. My hands had a lot of pressure. It was hard to come up and grab that clutch it was hard to let off that throttle and move my hands, because you have to come up and use your thumbs. Okay, these bars, so these are from vikingbags.com. From here to here is a 9-inch rise. So I think the other ones were about here. So kind of doubled the height, and I'm leaning further back, sitting up a little bit more straight. And because I'm doing that, I have less pressure on my hands, and I'm able to maneuver my fingers in the way that I need to. Not that I come off like that, but I can come off and I can take my hand off. I can utilize these buttons a little bit easier. This, I never come fully off. I just kind of hold on and maneuver. Okay. So a lot of newer bikes will have where I have just neutral. It'll show me that little green N that I am in neutral. Other bikes, newer bikes, fancier ones, they will tell you what gear you're in. So super nice if you're going to look into getting a newer bike. That is a huge plus. When I am riding, I have to count. So I don't know if you guys go to the gym, but if you're counting reps and you lose track at 5 or 4 like I do, I'll count to 4, and then 30 seconds down the road, I forgot what I ended at. And then I'll have to test it and try to get up to 5. But if I miscounted or I misremember, I'm already in 5, and then I pull my clutch in to turn off the power of the bike and try to kick up to 5, and I'm already there, and it just, I don't know, it's a waste, and it's annoying, and you slow down for a second. So if you're trying to go faster and you're pulling in your clutch, you're gonna slow down. There are some exceptions to that I've learned, but for our super basic sake, you'll slow down a little bit. Another thing that more advanced, I guess, fancier bikes have, this is just the speedometer, and it shows me my mileage. Other bikes will have RPMs, so that you know at what point you should shift up. I don't have that. I have to listen to my motor. So you can hear, and it's kind of good, at least for me, I think. I learned to listen to how the bike sounds. You can hear it revving up, and you can hear when you're at that top point of that gear that now I have to shift. So at that point, I would pull in my clutch, off my throttle, and then I would use that shifter and I would push up with my foot. And that would move me into second gear from first. Okay, so I think that is all I wanted to go over before we start to ride. So I am going to switch over to possibly a voiceover because my mic is not working with this camera. So let's start it up.
One eternity later.
Okay, I'm recording now. Alright, we're finally back on the bike. It's been a very stormy week, and right when I went to start up the bike, my camera died. So I'm doing a voiceover on this so I can start up the bike this time, and we can actually ride. This morning I dropped my bike, so literally right where you're looking at. Okay, too fast. Alright, I hope you guys can see my bike. I am in neutral right now, so this allows me to roll backwards. My driveway is a little bit sloped, so my bike will just kind of take me. So I can do this without even starting the bike. Ooh, I have Amazon packages. Alright, start it up, and then we can actually ride around the neighborhood. I will go over the braking and the friction zone today. What am I doing? It's hot out here. Okay, so I'm in first now. I'm going to use my friction zone to pull me forward so I can turn around. And then we can get out into the street. Let's just park over here. Okay. Okay, people coming. I really hope you guys can see my handlebars. So I am in first. I have the clutch pulled in with my left hand. And being in first just means I push down on this shifter peg. And I'm currently holding the front brake because this is a little bit of a downhill on this road. So what I'm going to do is, if I let go of this front brake, I will start to roll simply because nothing is engaged at this point. I am in first, but my transmission, essentially, my clutch, is not holding me because I have the clutch pulled in. So if I were to kind of let out a little bit on the clutch, still on the front brake, I can feel the bike wants to start to roll. So this is what I was practicing the first couple days before I ever gave it throttle. So the whole point of this video is how to stop this thing from moving. These are extremely dangerous. When I got on this, all I wanted to know for the very first lesson is if I feel like I'm uncomfortable or something happens where it might be a little bit dangerous, I want to know how to safely and effectively stop this thing. So release the clutch a little bit and you can start to roll. Okay, so now again, if you drop the clutch and just kind of release it without giving it any throttle, you will stall the bike. My husband's recording me. Recording me. So I guess when we get rolling, I can show you if I let off the front brake and let off the clutch, I can essentially coast down the hill, and I'll show you how to stop. So there's no traffic coming. If I just let off the brake, I'm still in the clutch. Slowly let the clutch out. I'm coasting. Now how do I stop? Pulling the clutch, foot brake, hand brake. And now you can put your feet down, gain your balance, hold that hand brake, and you've effectively stopped. So if you can do this, congratulations. Lesson 1 completed, successful, and now you know how to safely stop your bike. Excuse me for being in the road. So that's really all you need to know when stopping your bike. So now if I'm giving it throttle, I'm going to come off that handbrake because I'm on that downhill, come off the clutch, and start to slowly roll my hand. And I'm just giving it a little bit of gas until I'm out off of that clutch. And then if I want to stop, let's get past all these garbage cans. I'm only in first gear, so I'm not shifting. If I want to stop, pull in the clutch, off the throttle, foot brake, hand brake, slightly squeeze it. You're not going to ever just grab that hand brake, okay? Remember what I said in the beginning before we ever got to starting the bike up. Grabbing that hand brake will make you fall. So you're only controlling one wheel with one brake. So the hand brake is the front wheel. So handbrake locks up the front wheel. You could potentially topple over forward, or it could throw you off to the side and you could dump your bike. Foot brake is exactly as described with your foot, and it controls the rear wheel. So let's try this again. We're still in first. We haven't shifted back up to neutral. Let's actually shift back up to neutral. Sometimes I have problems with this. Let's see if it goes in the first try. Nope, in second. Okay, so keep holding that clutch in. If you miss it, don't dump it. You'll stall the bike. So it's like a half click. There we go. So it's in between first and second. where you will find neutral, and you know that you're there because the little green light goes on. And you can feel the bike moving a little bit. So like when I go back down to first, you'll see. So in neutral, I can let go of the clutch. Nothing will happen. The bike won't stall. I am flat foot on this bike. I wear Vans typically, so they're pretty low profile shoes. I don't have to stretch too far. Sometimes I tiptoe a little bit on my right foot just because my exhaust is hot and I don't want to accidentally burn my leg. So now that we're going to go from neutral to first, no throttle. Make sure you're always twisting that hand forward and you're not accidentally giving it gas. So hands up here, pull in that clutch, make sure it's fully engaged, and you're just gonna kind of stomp on that shifter. Just whoop, and you'll hear it click, and that little green light will go away. And a lot of these newer bikes will have a 1 right there, so it'll tell you you're in first. So I sometimes put my feet back down just to keep my balance. I'm new. I don't like to balance on one foot. So let's go. Slowly release that clutch. Give it some throttle. Keep slowly releasing. And your smooth takeoff. Okay? Now I don't want to shift up to second because I'm coming up to the stop sign anyway. So I'm going to slow down. And pulling in that clutch. Foot brake. Hand brake. And you are to a complete stop. Okay, so I'm going to try to make this kind of quick. I'll just go around the block. I don't think there's anybody behind me, but I absolutely hate going out here. Turn signal. There we go. Real life. I absolutely hate going from a stop sign into a right turn. I can go over little tricks on that later that I've learned by watching YouTube videos. So, okay, let off the clutch, give it a little bit of gas, get your balance, start to go. Look where you want to go. Don't forget that. Now I'm hearing my motor ready to shift. Clutch, disengage throttle, hold that shifter up. So now I'm going to, let's go to the next one. Sure, this is our focus stack. Yes. Pull the clutch off the throttle, kick it up. Okay, so now I'm going to turn here. Okay, we can go over the turns and stuff like that with her. It's kind of hard to be new, I guess, and go over some of these things as I'm doing them, because I'm still to the point in my learning process where I have to focus a little bit more. Alright, so we're coming to a stop. I'm in second, kick it down to first, and we can pull in that clutch, kind of coast to a stop, foot brake, hand brake, and we're stopped. So now again, I'm going to do a right turn, get the little thummy thing going here, and I'm on a little bit of a hill. This is not where I dropped it last time, but so if you're on a hill like this, last time I was on that further block down there that we'll pass, but because I was on a hill, I didn't really know how to do my foot brake versus my hand brake on kind of a grade in the road, and use my friction zone, and then pull into a right turn, which I absolutely despise. So use that. It's called the friction zone that I mentioned. Have your clutch pull you forward, off the hand brake, forward, a little bit of throttle, and rock. And then go ahead and shift. Maybe we'll go over shifting later. Let's go a little bit faster. Third gear now. And ramp, stop, clutch, foot brake, hand brake, downshift. Foot brake, hand brake with that clutch engaged. And we're at a stop again. So something to practice. First, start going with just the friction zone. You'll feel that pull it back in. Let it out a little bit. You'll feel that pull it back in, and it'll kill that power of the bike. So gauge the clutch, friction. It's called the friction zone because you're going to feel that friction on that motor. It's going to pull you. All right, so I can essentially just coast around the corner. No big deal. My feet are down, just up off the road. I can pull that clutch in further, engage my brakes, and I'm stopped. So work on that if you're just starting out. That's what I did. Really get a feel for that friction zone. At what point that clutch makes that contact to pull you forward. And then after that, you can start to use your brake just to practice stopping. So first lesson would be clutch, but know how to stop, practice stopping. And I'm just gonna park it in the garage here. All right, using that friction zone to pull myself in. So I'll put it in neutral. There we go. Let off the clutch. I'm still holding myself with my handbrake just because I like to be extra sure. Then I leave that on run. You don't have to do anything up there. Turn it off. Alright guys, remember to like this video, comment for more engagement, subscribe to my channel, and my husband just told me if I get to 100 subscribers, then I get to get a new camera. I just broke my chin mount today, so I am wearing this weird mess on my head. I got a sticky mount now right on the top of my helmet, so in my house, we call our head, call it our grape. So maybe I'll call this my grape cam view. So got the grape cam today. Get me to 100 subscribers and I get a new camera, and I already know which one I want. And that's the 360 that I can attach to my bike. And you guys can have better angles to watch me and learn different things. Thanks guys.